Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Western North Carolina fishing report with Dale Collins at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop. How are you doing, Dale?
Pretty good, Marvin. Hope you are. We're hunkering down and social distancing.
Absolutely. So what's the state of play at the shops in Sylvan, Bryson City these days?
So we're closed along, with the governor's executive order of, businesses and whatnot that are not essential. And even though fishing we feel is an essential activity, we had folks coming in the shop from all over the country, even as all these guidelines are in place from New York City and Atlanta. And we love seeing those folks, but with everything going on right now, it's just not a good idea. So to keep customers safe and our family safe, we decided it was just best to go ahead and shut down during this, at least for the 30 days that the governor has the state on the stay-at-home order. And then we'll reevaluate it at the end of that and go from there. So in the meantime, we're doing email orders. You can still book trips. You can even, if you book them for, to be determined when we're on the other side of this, you can book them for a discount. And we will process email orders every Wednesday. So fly tying needs or, any kind of merchandise, gear, be glad to help folks out. These stimulus checks, they're sending them out from the Treasury, and the idea is that people spend that money. So to stimulate the economy. So by all means, if anybody's shopping for a rod or some new waders, certainly give us a call. Be glad to help with that.
Absolutely. And it's kind of an odd time too, because the fishing situation is kind of getting weirder and weirder and seems to change by the day in terms of decisions being made either to close access so people can't get to fishing, or basically decisions being made that it's not safe for people to be on the water. Kind of what are you seeing in the Bryson City area, and what are your suggestions for folks?
The biggest thing is to use common sense. The Tuckaseegee this weekend was actually pretty busy, and that's okay if everybody's out there doing their 6-foot distance thing, but some of them weren't. And if NC Wildlife is going to continue to see people ignoring social distancing rules even while fishing, then they might end up closing it. And we've seen that in South Carolina. They're not stocking. They're not allowing people to fish the rivers. You can't fish the lakes. And so we don't want to get into that situation. For Jackson County and even Swain County, if you come in from another county outside of just, for work responsibilities, then you actually are supposed to quarantine for 14 days. So let's say you're coming up here, for instance, from Thomasville, North Carolina, then technically you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days before you go fishing. There's that whole weird side of it too, because you're probably going to go to a drive-through or go to a gas station while you're up here, and you could spread it and not even know that you're spreading this mess. So, we got to kind of take a moment and be responsible and do our civic duty is what it comes down to, in this weird time. But just be smart. And I, you and I were talking before here. Let's get out in our backyards and find a creek and find out what's around us. There's some amazing waters around all of these cities where a lot of our customer base comes from. Whether it's Chattahoochee or something in Georgia, North Georgia, or the Piedmont Triad. I know I've waded the Upper Yadkin in Yadkin County for smallmouth, and they're getting moving. That water temp has hit 60 for us here in Western North Carolina. So I know the smallies and the Yadkin are certainly getting active. So definitely pay attention to water levels, but get out there if you can. The Deep River, Randolph County, places like that, Rocky River down towards Charlotte, I think even. But it's amazing. I remember growing up, man, one of my favorite memories fishing is just going to the creek down there in central Davidson County where I grew up And I mean, you could just about jump across this creek in a couple of places, but me and my buddy Matt, we caught a 2-pound smallmouth in that little bitty creek. Who knows where that fish came from or how he got there. But man, that was a fish we'll never forget because it was in our backyard and it was a nice fish. So yeah, get out there and explore, fish the local waters for sure.
Yeah, I think staying close to home is certainly good advice because, folks, if we're going through this pain and suffering of social distancing, the sooner we do it and the better we do it, the sooner we can kind of get on the other side of all this stuff. And I think, probably the only other thing I would add is, you probably, before you go fish somewhere, you might want to go check the websites for the access because it's changing really quickly. And the last thing you want to do is get out and find out that you're not supposed to be somewhere because that's just not any good. And, it's interesting too. We got a lot of stuff going on, right? So Shannon Messer, who is in the store in Bryson City. I don't know if folks know this or not, if they follow you guys on social media, but Shannon has made the Elite 8 in the Norvice Tying Challenge. And the prize for winning that contest is, I think, is a $500 gift card or gift certificate from the folks at Norvice. And Shannon doesn't want to win for himself. He says if he wins, he wants to give the prize away to an everyday hero.
That's right. And he's tied. It's been an amazing competition. It's from Norvice ambassadors all over the world. His first one was a jig nymph. And man, that was close with the other fella that he was tying against. They tied almost the same fly, just different styles. And I think it was maybe 10 votes that separated them. And then the next fly he had to tie was a streamer. And if any of you know Shannon, he is a dry fly guru, traditional nymph guru. So for him he tied in a beautiful articulated dungeon style streamer, and it got him to the next level. So Wednesday they will post the next round on the Norvice page, and we'll certainly post it to ours. It's the dry fly side of things, so it's kind of in his wheelhouse. So we're excited about that, and just so cool of him to be donating the proceeds of that to somebody that's working their tails off right now to keep us all safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would say, folks, is when you hear this fishing report, because it's going to come out on Wednesday, starting Wednesday evening, go check the Tuck Fly Shop Facebook page and vote for Shannon's pattern.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You have to, we'll post how to get to it, but you have to also go to not just our post, but actually get to the Norvice post and like Shannon's fly. Make sure you pay attention to which picture is Shannon's, and we'll certainly make sure in the Facebook post which one is Shannon's. But yeah, $500 of Norvice swag, accessories, and all that stuff. So it's very, very cool of him to be donating that.
Yeah, no, he's a super great guy. So folks, please help him out on that. And, we've got a question from one of our regular listeners, Jonathan. And I would say, Dale, yeah, absolutely. And so what I would say is he has a question about when's a good time to fish hatchery supported water versus fishing wild and DH water. And I would say, let's just assume for purposes of answering this question that we didn't have any COVID-19 issues, so we don't unnecessarily complicate it. And Jonathan, just remember to apply all the stuff we talked about earlier in the fishing report to whatever answer Dale gives you.
That's right. Yeah. So, of course we're on the I guess the south side of the, closure for hatchery supported waters. So hatchery supported waters are open as of last Saturday. So it is legal to fish them. And you sort of, NC Wildlife does a great job of informing people when they're stocking these, and it surprises a lot of folks to know that a lot of the hatchery supported waters in Jackson County and Swain County are stocked through the summer all the way. I think there might be one that even gets fish in August. So it's got to be obviously cold water. And the idea with hatchery supported waters is that these are cold waters already. They just need a little support from the hatchery to make sure people can harvest fish and maintain the habitat and keep everything in balance. But so let's take, for example, Scott Creek there in Silva. Usually in August in the afternoons, the waters will reach around 72, 74 degrees, just depending on what kind of summer we're having. But they'll stock those, and you're going to catch a mix you'll catch some wild fish. You fish like a dry dropper setup. And let's say you fish a flashy nymph under any kind of blueing or a caddis or something like, or even a hopper. Maybe you'll get the wild fish on the top water, but you might pick up that stockfish on the nymph. So, and generally, as far as the fight goes, you're not going to notice the difference. And the NC wildlife guys tell us that, visually you can easily notice the difference. Certainly the wilder fish are going to be much prettier than the ones from the hatchery. But man, I love hatchery supported waters, pretty much now through, September. Like you get into September, that's like sometimes our hottest month. So, but a lot of times those waters, you don't need waders. Just wear some long pants, wet wading socks, and wading boots, and watch out for the slithering friends and poison ivy, and you'll have a great day.
Yeah, and on the pattern side for the hatchery fish, we're really kind of talking about fishing DH patterns, right? Squirmies, Y2Ks, Pat's rubber leg, stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah, because they're going to be, generally freshly stocked. So they've stocked some. Obviously, they stock during the month of March. So you might catch a fish, maybe a hatchery fish, even on a dry fly in July, that's been in there long enough to figure out what hatches are and what food he needs to eat to survive. But if you're on let's say you're on a section that maybe recently was stocked, it's in July and they stock it in July, then yeah, the egg patterns, the squirmies, the junk food, all that's going to work really well.
Yeah, give them the Big Mac. And folks, remember to send us your questions. We love to have them. And if we read your question, I'll send you some articulate fly swag, and you're going to get into a drawing for something from the Tuck Fly Shop on the other side of all this COVID-19 stuff. Before I let you hop, Dale, why don't you let folks know the best way to get in touch with you so that they can support the shop while you're at least close to foot traffic, book a trip at a discount, place an online order, support you guys during these tough times?
Sure, yeah. We'll be working to try to get our online store back going again, but you can find all our information at tuckflyshop.com. And you can, our phones, we took our phones down that have a message, regarding our email. You can email us at info@tuckflyshop.com. And we will be on that every day, and we'll be back in touch with everybody, and be glad to take care of you. In the meantime, we've got some content on certainly with Facebook and also our YouTube channel. So give all that a listen, and be glad to help anybody best we can.
Absolutely. And you're filling your online orders on Wednesdays, right?
That's the current going, because we're in this stay-at-home order. So we kind of want to just limit how much we're out, and that helps with that process. And if we know there's one day a week, then we can go in there and get half a dozen or a dozen orders together and get them out the door to the post office, and just making efficient time and staying safe through this.
Absolutely. And folks, stay safe, look out for your fellow man. If you can fish close to home responsibly, get out and catch a few, explore some new waters, and take care, and tight lines, and we'll see you on the other side. Tight lines, Dale.
You too, Marvin.